A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News First Centre in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudarnayaka. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Elections Commissioner arrives in Monragala unannounced. Assistant Elections Commissioner obstructs reporters from covering the event. UPFA candidate provides political aid to a village in Uva. Suspect connected to the kidnapping in Nikadalupota remanded. Tensions at the Monragala bus stand over the inclusion of a new SLTB bus. Sri Lanka emerges as the runners-up at the Asian Netball Championships.
There is just less than a week for the Uva Provincial Council elections, and News First Foreign Rajanjan joins us now with details of the election atmosphere ahead of the polls.
The police say that it has arrested 42 persons for the violation of election laws and acts of violence in the run-up to the Uva Provincial Council polls. Now, the Election Secretariat states that it has received 223 election-related complaints. The highest number of complaints have been received from the Monragala district. A number of incidents have been reported from the Monragala district today as well. Now, one such incident was the unannounced visit to Monragala by the Elections Commissioner this morning. News First correspondent Lakmal Kirinigala, who went to report on the event, had to face an unexpected situation outside the Elections Office.
The team of News First Lakmal Kirinigala visited the office of the Assistant Election Commissioner of Monragala after receiving information that the Elections Commissioner was to arrive there this morning. It was then that the Assistant Elections Commissioner of Monragala obstructed the News First team.
We sent a letter not to show people taking down the cutouts, but you continue to show them. You upload them immediately. We told you not to speak of it, but on that day when a discussion was going on, you were speaking about it in the background with a laptop. Do not do that. Do not come here by force without seeking permission. The police will not allow anyone to come in from this gate hereafter. If you come again like this, the STF will be deployed to the gate. Who are you to barge in like this? Do you have any special permission? You are barging into other people's places. Please remain outside of the gate until I call you. Do not make me call the SP again. That is all. Are you trying to record this as well?
Please. මෙතන GA ඉන්න. කො GA ගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ. තේරිමාලේ දා සර් නේ. සර්ගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ. ඒක අපිට කරනවා කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. අපි ප්‍රශ්න ඇති කරගන්න කිසි මොනවද. නෑ ඇති කරගන්න එපා. අයියෝ ඔබ එන්නේ එහෙම. ඔයගොල්ලෝ අස්සාව අපි ආවා. අහලා එන්න. මගේ මොබයිල් නම්බර් එක දෙනවා මම ආන්සර් කරගෙන ඉන්නවද කතා. ඔයාලා ගත්ත ඔබ ආන්සර් කරන්නේ නැහැ අත. අද පෙරබරුවේ මොන්රාල් දිස්ත්‍රික් මැතිවරණ කොමසාරි.
We went to the office of the Monragala District Election Commissioner this morning upon receiving information that the Elections Commissioner himself had arrived there. We went to report on this and we were waiting outside the premises of the office. However, we were obstructed from reporting on it. Now, in the media accreditation issued to journalists, it says the Department of Government Information requests all to provide cooperation to this journalist to carry out his or her duties without let or hindrance. Meanwhile, a group of students from the University of Sabaragama staged a satyagraha campaign in the Monragala town today. A tense situation was reported following the arrival of the chairman of the Monragala Pradesh Sabha, R.M. Ratnavira. The police had to intervene to control the situation. Subsequently, the police dispersed the students taking part in the Satyagraha campaign after obtaining a court order.
As far as I've been informed by the Election Commissioner's office, you cannot go canvassing with more than 15 people. So we went canvassing with less than 15 people. Now there are around 200 people here dressed in black and criticizing the government. We are against this. There is an Assistant Elections Commissioner here called Suranga. So I want to know why he cannot remove these. There are two candidates in the Monragala Kacheri, two prominent members of the JVP. As a favor to these two candidates, they are removing everything of the government and all other parties except of the JVP. So we are against this. What has happened here is that a group of inter-university students from the Students' Union of the Sabaragamu University have carried out a satyagraha at this bus stand, and a complaint was lodged in this regard. So we have a complaints unit, and the unit went and looked into this. It wasn't politically motivated, it was just demands for hostels and things like that. The elections commissioner was also in Monoragala when this happened. So because he was here, we told him of this problem. He said that there is no political connection to this and we cannot intervene in this matter, so let the police handle it. But the chairman of the Monoragala Pradesh Sabha insists that we put a stop to it. We do not have the power to stop picketing. We only have the power to stop illegal propaganda activity.
The candidates contesting the poll have visited almost all the villages that the elections will take place. However, we received this report of a village that distributes aid among the villagers. Now this is a report on the people of Kalukale.
News first reached this village last evening after travelling almost 12 kilometres, taking a turn from the Arawa junction on the Badulla Anda Ulpata road. Although a 5-kilometre stretch of the road from the Arawa junction has been renovated with tar, from that point onwards, the journey is not an easy one. Residents of this village had to resort to night lamps during the dark. Children from this village head to school every day amidst a number of difficulties. The News First team that spent the night at the Kalukale village set off to the Badulla town this morning. The team came across these locals carrying items that were distributed by a candidate. However, the candidate has not paid a visit to this village at all. He had called the villagers to the point where tar had been laid on the road and distributed the items to them. When we attempted to record the footage of the villagers carrying these items, another group obstructed us.
Up next is Battle for Work.
The opposition is formulating a list of allegations. We received information that the JVP had come to Bibila and unveiled a big list of allegations. They are making these accusations under the impression that there is no past. Yet, we know how the JVP acted in the history of elections in this country.
They are enjoying while we are suffering. This is the injustice. It is okay if they enjoy after giving us something. Then it would be fair.
The person who works hard needs to be the rich person, but what is happening is the other side of this. The lazy person who does nothing, who has no knowledge, is in air-conditioned rooms and travels in luxury vehicles like millionaires. How did this happen?
The carpet is laid and yet they scold. They say that we are stealing from road and expressway projects. Then they pay 350 rupees and travel on it. Andra Kumar Disanayaka travelled on the carpeted road and his driver tried to overtake on the road. They met with an accident. Thankfully nothing happened to Anura. If something did happen, they will say the government did it.
Vijayamuni distributed tusks to all the temples in the area. From where did he get so many of these tusks? Did he take them out from his mouth?
I
am not a good person. I do not want to appear as a holy man. I am the same old Vijayamuni Soisa.
There is only one god in Kataragama. That god is Shashindra. Recently he convened a press conference and said that he drew a plan to develop this entire province. He had drawn this plan with a professor. The professor too was present. They say, one question in the advanced level economics paper is wrong. The students lost 15 marks because of this professor. This is the same professor who has advised Shashindra on his plan. You need to think again. Are you going to vote for a chief minister like this?
The magistrate of Monaragala today ordered the police to submit the video footage of the local politician who was spotted in front of the Monaragala hospital with a sword in his hand. The police said that measures are being taken to obtain the footage.
Monaragala Pradesh Sabha member Sanat Piyapema was spotted in front of the Monaragala hospital complex with a sword in hand on the 3rd. The footage of him with a sword in hand has already been viewed by many worldwide. 2 days after the incident, when News First inquired, the police media spokesperson said that an investigation has been launched over the local politician. 3 days after the incident, News First met with the Pradesh Sabha member in Monaragala.
This is not a sword. This is a knife used to cut up fish. I keep this for my personal safety.
On the 3rd, we also spoke to the individual who was threatened by the Pradesh Sabha member.
He crossed to the other side of the road and came towards me with a sword and threatened me.
The police notes that as there is no complaint, it cannot take any action regarding the Pradesh Sabha member. It is the view of legal experts that it is illegal to act in a manner that harms public in public places with a weapon. Various views are being made in society over the Pradesh Sabha member being released on police bail after being arrested. If politicians or any other individual acts in a manner that disturbs the public in an area where an election is to be held, can doubts cast by the general public on the law of the country be stopped?
That was little Pamara Keshani, who was taken away from her family recently, returning back to her mother's arms. The chief suspect who was arrested in connection to the kidnapping of Pamara was placed in remand custody today.
The mother of the chief suspect and another individual connected to the kidnapping were jailed yesterday after being produced before the Kurunegala magistrate. The police said that the chief suspect was remanded after he was produced before the magistrate today. He was arrested by the police last afternoon in Digama, Vallava. Little Pamara, who was returned to her parents, spent the whole day with fun and games. Meanwhile, the parents of Pamara convened a media briefing this evening.
I wish to thank
the President for ensuring that the law is implemented to find my daughter. I also wish to thank the Secretary of Defence. I also want to thank the IGP, the police officers and the CID. Everyone extended their support to find my daughter. They held religious observances on behalf of my daughter. I am extremely thankful.
The suspect who is in custody is not a relative of my husband. That statement is wrong. I wish to ask, do you not understand the pain a mother and father goes through? Do not cause the pain to your parents. Please do not kidnap a child like this in the country ever again. If you have a mother and if you have children, do not cause any pain to your mother. I know the pain that I went through. Only I know how I felt when I saw my child again. I only wanted my child back and nothing else. I am thankful to everyone who assisted in the search for my child. Pamara Keshani was reported missing since 2:30 in the morning on the 9th of this month and was found on Friday.
Also in local news, the program to provide drought relief after renovating canals and waterways continues to take place in the Hambantota district. However, one such program that took place in the Tangol Divisional Secretariat had to be stopped midway today.
The renovation of canals and waterways under the program to provide drought relief commenced this morning in the Nidahaskama West Grama Seva division in Ranna. The villagers were made aware of the program after notice was circulated by the Tangol Pradesh Sabha. The villagers were forced to renovate the left bank of the canal in Ranna in order to obtain the drought relief. According to our correspondent, around 180 persons arrived for the renovation work. However, relief packages were only prepared for 110 persons. The villagers voiced their objection over this.
180 of us got soaked while renovating this canal the whole day. There is no one to take responsibility for this. The only thing that happened was us getting soaked. The police officer and the other official left. The entire village was called and it only resulted in us being left in despair. This was merely an indecisive action taken by the divisional secretariat. So naturally the official who came here and got the work done from us was also humbled. And now they're swaying back and forth because they cannot make a decision.
When inquired, the Dangol Divisional Secretariat said that the notice was circulated after selecting 110 agrarian representatives. He added that tensions arose when additional persons arrived at the location and future steps will be decided on after the discussion that will take place tomorrow.
Here's a look at what's coming up on the News First International desk.
Islamic State have released a video which they claim shows the beheading of a 44-year-old British aid worker. Details of this story comes your way on the News First International desk with me, Shahin Jirangpati.
Experts in the field of communication and party supporters say that the statement made by head of the United National Party's Communications Brigade, Parliamentarian Mahela Jayawardena, that a political party can emerge victorious without the support of the media, which is published in the Mahela newspaper, is in fact a joke.
At a media briefing convened on Wednesday, head of the United National Party's Communications Brigade, Mahela Jayawardena, had stated, quote, "There is no need for media or ITS owners," unquote. This statement was published on the Mahela newspaper on Thursday. As per the article published on Mahela newspaper, Mahela Jayawardena had said that in 1977, J.R. Jayawardena won the election without the support of the media. However, senior supporters of the United National Party say that the statement made by Mahela Jayawardena as an individual without any knowledge about media is indeed a matter to laugh about. He had said there was no media in 1977, yet the UNP won a landslide victory. If there was media in 1977, the UNP would have won even more votes. If there is no media, the party policies must be presented to the public in hundreds of meetings. We did hold hundreds of meetings. If we had media, we would have won more votes. Though we won in 1977 without media, it cannot be done at present. There is media and we need to take full use of it.
I think Mahela
Jayawardena is trying to instill in the party the view that the party can win elections without media. But I believe that this idea itself brings a negative impact on the party. I think at present it is only through media that a party can take forward all its policies and information to the people. At the same time, statements of this nature would only set the party back and would not lead the party to victory. We also saw his media campaigns in the recent past. We are aware of the manner in which he treated media when he was the Minister of Media. We express our displeasure over the making of such statements by a person who held the post of Media Minister. There are people who row boats in floodwaters. They cannot do anything. When floodwaters recede, their rowing also stops. This statement by Mahela Jayawardena will bring the party a step back.
ප්‍රකාශය තුළ එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂයේ නැවත අගාතයට ඇද දැමෙක් දයි අපිට ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න පුළුවන්.
Experts think that convening a media briefing to state that media is useless by a person like Mahela Jayawardena, who is the head of the United National Party's Communications Brigade and the former Minister of Media, is indeed a joke.
ජනමාධ්‍ය ප්‍රධානම කරුත්තක් තමයි මේ ජනමතය සකස් කිරීම. විශේෂයෙන්ම අපේ
One of the main goals of media is the shaping the view of the public. Our society has now developed into a digested society. In such a society, the main source of information and the main means of expression of ideas is the mass media. Today, politics too have come under the influence of media than never before. Therefore, any election in Sri Lanka, whether it be provincial council election, general election or a presidential election, it cannot be carried out without media.
මහා මැතිවරණයක් ජනාධිපතිවරණයක් මේ එකම මැතිවරණයක්වත් වර්තමාන සංඝාතික මාධ්‍යයෙන් ජනමාධ්‍යයෙන් තොරව සිද්ධ කරන්න බෑ.
During the time period mentioned by Mahela Jayawardena, the only media that exists in the country is State Broadcasting Corporation and a few other print media organizations. Experts point out that the fact that Mahela Jayawardena, forgetting the existence of the massive spread of internet media and the large number of electronic and print media that exists in the country at present, is a matter to laugh about.
You're watching News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
The marking of this year's advanced level economics examination paper commenced today. Part 1 of the examination paper, that is the MCQ section, will be marked for 5 days starting today. Question number 46 in this examination paper has 2 correct answers. Speaking to Action TV, the Examinations Commissioner said that the Chief Control Examiner had informed him that it was decided to provide marks to the students who had selected one of the 2 correct answers. This notification clearly shows that the written guarantee provided by the Chief Controller Examiner and the panel that formulated the examination paper, citing that there was no flaw in the examination paper, is now proven wrong. As an intellectual opinion was not considered previously that there was a flaw in question number 46, the Examination Commissioner must seek independent opinion on the 7 questions of which the flaws in them were previously pointed out by intellectuals. Incidentally, the Action TV report yesterday also highlighted the need to seek independent opinions on the matter. On the 30th of August, 10 university lecturers directed this report to the Examinations Commissioner with the objective of preventing students of losing 15 marks from the examination as a result of the flaws in the examination paper, and also to prevent wrong information from making its way into society. The report was sent to the Examinations Commissioner, hoping that it will be taken into consideration when formulating the marking scheme for the examination. Although the Examinations Commissioner noted that this report was directed to the Chief Control Examiner days ahead, he is still unaware whether this report was taken into account at the meeting that was convened on Wednesday and Thursday. Rather than protecting the pride of the panel that formulates the economics examination paper, what the Examinations Commissioner should do is face this challenge in a manner that protects the respect of position and the department, as the examination paper is an item that comes under the direct purview of the department.
සුද්ධ ආර්ථික න්‍යායයෙන් කියන මූලික සංකල්ප බෙද දාන්නට
Attempts made through this examination paper to contradict the norms and ethics of economics need to be defeated. I am requesting from Pushpa Kumara and all the others who are under the political influence to come for an open debate on this matter, be it Golfers Green or anywhere else.
මේ කියන තර්ක වැරදි කියන එක.
Persons engaged in the rubber industry and small rubber estate owners in Duanwala staged a demonstration today.
The protest was carried out citing a number of reasons, including a control price being introduced for rubber as a result of the drop in rubber prices, preventing the importation of rubber, and if rubber is being imported, a higher tax to be imposed. Tell them to give us a stipulated price of rupees 500.
Stop the import of rubber and ensure that justice is meted out.
Deputy Minister of Agriculture YG Padmasiri, who arrived at the location, held discussions with the protesters.
A cabinet paper has been submitted to the cabinet by the minister. Accordingly, it has been approved that the rubber price will be increased to a certified price of 300 rupees.
A tense situation broke out between 2 factions at the Monaragala main bus stand today. Now, the reason for the tension was the inclusion of a new bus by the SLTB to operate until Panama. Let's take a look at our special segment, Is It Solved?
On the 29th of July, Newsfirst reported on the difficulties faced by the Athalagedera village in Halyala due to the lack of a water supply project. The villagers say there seems to be no end to the promises made by politicians to provide a water project as the election draws closer.
They vote for them under the impression of receiving water. After this election, again they will only visit here during the next election.
Yet no solution has been provided to the drinking water problem faced by locals of Athalagedera. On the 30th of May, a protest was staged by the locals of Dematamal Palasa and Valigaha Golla in Uhana, Ampara, demanding that the access road to the villages to be renovated. It's been 4 months since the demonstration and the authorities have not yet focused their attention towards it.
The latest edition of classical Odissi dance Ashta festival kicked off in India's eastern Bhubaneswar city pays an ode to Sanskrit poet Jayadev from the 12th century.
The Ashta festival was inaugurated by Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik. The fourth edition of the festival includes some of the best-known names in Odissi genre. Prior to the dance festival, a book, Sampurna Gita Govinda, authored by a noted scholar of Odisha's cultural heritage and musician Dr. Subhash Pani, was released by the Chief Minister. The Performing Arts Festival features Odisha's classical dance, Odissi dance performances and vocal recitals of all 24 songs of Jayadeva's Gita Govinda. Ashtapadi and Sampurna Gita Govinda festivals are two back-to-back festivals which will go on for 5 days and will conclude on the 16th of September.
Moving on to sports news now, Singapore emerged champions for the second consecutive time at the Asian Netball Championship after they defeated Sri Lanka in the finals 59-41.
Both Singapore took on Sri Lanka in the finals of the Asian Netball Championships today. Sri Lanka started to score in the game and led 12-8 at the end of the first quarter. However, in the second quarter, Singapore managed to bridge the gap and lead the scoreboard. Singapore secured their third title as Asian Netball Championships when they defeated Sri Lanka 59-41. The captain of the Sri Lankan national netball team, Shashika Samarasinghe, stated that the absence of a national coach had affected the performance of the team. Although Sri Lanka managed to qualify to the finals against Singapore in the previous Asian Netball Championship played in Sri Lanka, it was Singapore that emerged victorious. It was discussed at that instance that the reason behind the defeat was a conflict between the coaches. Sri Lanka, which faced Singapore in a previous instance, was defeated by only 1 goal, but this time the Sri Lankans were defeated by 18 goals.
An event was held to felicitate former Sri Lanka Test cricket captain Mahela Jayawardena in Colombo last evening. The event was organised by the Old Boys Union of Nalanda College, Colombo. Former cricketers as well as a number of Nalandians were present for this event that was organised to appreciate the services rendered to cricket in the country and for the school. A special lecture was delivered by former Test cricket captain Kumar Sangakkara. A special stamp and a first day cover were unveiled at the event appreciating the services rendered by Mahela Jayawardena for cricket in Sri Lanka. The event took place under the auspices of Deputy Minister of Postal Services Mahela Jayawardena. This is incidentally the first time that a stamp was unveiled for a cricketer in the country. Special moments were also presented to Mahela Jayawardena. Or rather, special mementos were also presented to Mahela Jayawardena. He was also presented the award for Sir Donald Bradman of Nalanda. Next is a look at the bitter truth.
On the 7th of July, the International Cricket Council banned Sri Lankan spinner Sachitra Senanayake from bowling in international cricket as the ICC found him guilty of using an illegal action. Almost 2 months later, the ICC banned Pakistan spinner Saeed Ajmal after finding his bowling action also illegal. Challenging these decisions, former Sri Lankan Test cricket captain Arjuna Ranatunga points out banning players with less than 6 months for the 2015 Cricket World Cup raises suspicions. Arjuna Ranatunga adds that there is a possibility of allowing these players to play in the World Cup and take a decision afterwards. The ICC needs to act more intelligent regarding these matters. These players who have been banned are not newcomers. They have been playing cricket for years. I believe that what has taken place is a bad example. This also raises suspicions. The ICC has become an institution that is controlled by 3 major countries. I don't think it is wrong if someone says that these countries are working to remove the talented players from the other national teams. Pakistan spinner Saeed Ajmal says he expects to play for Pakistan in the 2015 Cricket World Cup. Speaking to private television in Pakistan, Ajmal said that the assessment conducted to show hypermobility of the right wrist due to an early injury. He adds that the ICC had not taken the medical report over this injury into consideration. If this is proven, can it be that there is a conspiracy behind the bans imposed by the ICC on Saeed Ajmal and Sachitra Senanayake? We need to look at the head of the ICC who imposed these bans. He is Srinivasan. Srinivasan is an individual who was criticized in India for match fixing. He has charges filed against him. He faces a situation where he would have been exiled from India. The ICC will never tell him to step down. They will continue to impose bans on innocent players rather than removing such corrupt individuals. The World Cup is just a few months away. This is a conspiracy. We have no faith in the ICC. I wonder what will happen to cricket if the ICC is run by corrupt persons. Sachitra Senanayake was found guilty of breaching the 15-degree elbow extension during the 4th ODI against England at Lord's earlier this year. On that day, Chairman of National Selectors Sanath Jayasuriya said that it is not unusual for allegations to be levelled at Sri Lankan players when they perform exceptionally well. The Big Three is referred to the 3 nations that hold majority power in the ICC, namely India, England and Australia. Have Sachitra and Ajmal become the prey of a Big Three conspiracy? Open for debate.
Taking a look back at another one of our local stories, earlier in the bulletin we reported how a member of the Monaragala Pradesh Sabha was caught on camera attacking an individual with a sword. Now the magistrate of Monaragala today ordered the police to submit the video footage of the local politician who was spotted in front of the Monaragala hospital with a sword in his hand. And the police said that measures are being taken to obtain the footage. Now meanwhile, Dr. Pradeep Veerasinghe elaborated on the importance of legal action that needs to be taken.
What we can see here is how the law is being implemented in a manner where it benefits factions loyal to the government and affects those who are against the government or has any other opinion about it. This incident is also quite similar. We can remember some time back during the time of the elections where a senior journalist Sushil Kindal Pittiya was arrested by the police for the possession of a firearm. He was arrested back then because he was contesting from an opposition party. Now at a time where a Pradesh Sabha member has in public, in the open, had a weapon in his hand, no action whatsoever is being taken against him. By this we can see how much the public in this country are affected by the law that has been imposed in this country. The public loses faith in the law through things like this.
නීතිය පිළිබඳ විශ්වාසය සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම බිඳ වැටෙනවා. මේකෙන්
With that, we wrap up tonight's edition of News First Weekend. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudannayaka. Have a pleasant week ahead of you. Good night.